34.
So this meeting's being recorded.
Hmm.
In addition to being conducted remotely in accordance with Mass General Law, all votes will be taken by roll call. I'm going to do a quick roll call right now. Tom Raleigh here.
Carl
Here.
Hummel.
Next, Karen.
Karen Mead here.
Mike Burns.
Mike.
Present.
Thank you. Okay, so let's get into it. So first things first, let's talk about where we are in terms of the, well, actually, do we have any minutes to approve?
I've been supporting my wife the past week with her knee surgery and not getting
Gotcha.
enough sleep. So
Oh,
I
that's
may or
fine.
may not have sent minutes out, but it would have been a long time ago.
Let's
Our
make
last-
a point.
Yeah. Our
Let's
last
make a point.
meeting was April 30th.
Let's make a point in the next meeting to catch up on
Yeah.
minutes. All right. Okay, let's first talk about where we stand with the noise bylaw. Remind me where we last left off.
We
I think-
decided not to proceed at this year's ATM, which,
Right.
considering what else happened at that meeting, was probably a good was the better choice. The next step will be for me to incorporate the feedback I received from the Board of Health agent and the police chief into another draft and then send it out for another round of review. So that's my critical path. That's on my plate for getting done. Once am comfortable with that particular draft, then we would work to schedule a public meeting. One of the advantages we have now is that there's now an online town newspaper kind of thing. So I would, after we get the slide deck ready, I'd contact that person, as well as getting posts on Facebook and on the town website to say what the current status of the noise bylaw is and what feedback we're looking to get.
Carl, is there a draft already, or it's in the works?
Yeah, it's on it's on our town. It's in the SharePoint site in our GBRC thing. At least I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm that organized. I would have put it in there. Yeah. And there's also a slide deck, which there's a couple slide decks. There's the first one that was given to municipal stakeholders and the select board, and then the second one is the draft that will be presented at the public meeting. Tom would open the meeting and then look at me, and then I'd go through the slides, and then Tom would solicit input from whoever was listening or attending.
Have you seen some of the stuff going on with noise bylaws in surrounding towns and the uproar they've been? So I think it was like Hopedale tried passing one or like discussing one, and people showed up and defeated it in droves. And kind of, I don't know. I think there's like, we want to make absolutely sure it's like not something that is too far reaching, I think, is our,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to make clear that it doesn't overreach. Because I think,
Yeah. Is that what the concern at Hopedale was?
yes, it was just kind of like, but this gives them too much power to shut stuff down, and it's like too. So I don't know.
Because the feedback we've been getting is, please shut down contractors from making loud noises in the morning.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, before 7 a.m. Yeah.
Well, they're not supposed to. It's against the state noise
Right.
pollution kind of stuff.
Yeah.
However, The purpose of creating, I'm going into my speech here, the purpose of creating a Mendon municipal town bylaw is that it will authorize code enforcement officers, either the police or the Board of Health agent or anybody else who's designated, to write them a ticket. They don't have to arrest them. They don't have to haul them into Superior Court. They just say, it's like a parking ticket. Here you go. I took a reading on my noise meter. You exceeded the threshold that's allowable. If you don't like it, you can contest it the same way you would a parking ticket. And both of the police chief and the Board of Health agent are happy with that kind of approach. $50, I think $50. First offense, you get a verbal warning. Second offense, within a year, $100. Third and successive ones, more. I don't remember the exact numbers. And it's explicitly the first offense is verbal warning so that no one can say they didn't know they were too loud before they get handed a fine.
Is that verbal warning a statement?
From the code enforcement officer.
Got it. Okay.
And one of the things we're getting public discussion on and buy-in is where the reading is taken from the noise meter. And there's two ways to do it. One of them is you do it at the threshold of the person who's complaining. So if I'm here in my house, they come to my front door and take a noise reading. The other one is they go to the border of the other person's property. There are issues either way, but we don't want to have a police officer in the middle of the night walking in the middle of the woods to try and find where the property line is to take a noise reading.
Right. Yes.
So it's likely that the code enforcement officer will deal with business noise complaints during the day and the police will take the residential noise. But that's something that we are telling the citizens, that's internal to the town. Call the non-emergency 911 number and someone will come out. And you don't have to worry about who's coming out. The police and the inspectional services department will decide that.
Mm-hmm. And then I imagine there's time factors as well.
Yeah, if you look at the slide deck and the draft, that's something we want input from. For example, the bigger cities have different restrictions for Monday through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and holidays. The bigger places have restrictions for who is making the noise. For example, if I'm a homeowner or I'm a renter, I want to be able to make noise in the summer until 9, 10 o'clock at night because that's the only, and on Sunday, and on Saturday and Sunday, because that's the only time I can start doing my home repairs or building an addition or a shed. Contractors, we don't want maybe we don't want contractors working on Sundays. Maybe we don't want contractors working past 5 p.m. on Fridays. So that's the kind of input that I'm looking to get at the public meeting and after we publish the newspaper and see what people say on Facebook. So I'm hoping we don't have it defeated overwhelmingly.
I'll have to look that Hopedale up.
Yeah.
Kyle, where can we read this bylaw, this noise bylaw?
It should be in the GBRC SharePoint folder. So let me see if I can pull that up. Let's see, share. Second screen. Well, that didn't work. Let's try this. There we go. General Bylaws Review Committee. Noise bylaw. And then in here is the draft text and then the public presentation. So there's so are you able to see on my screen where the folder is?
Yep.
Mike, if you don't have access to the GBRC folder, put in a help desk ticket and say a copy the town clerk and say that you're on the committee and you need access to the folder.
I don't think I have that folder.
It's you. This is. I don't know. I had my Open Drive SharePoint stuff set up 10 years ago with the Conservation Commission, and they just added in for me to be able to get the Finance Committee and the GBRC. It's help desk at something. World Band, I think.
Okay.
Yep, helpdesk at worldband.com.
Got it.
I'll put that in chat. Any other questions about the noise bylaw draft?
No.
Not at this time.
I got nothing.
Okay.
So, what kind of a timeline do we want? Like, when do we want to start having public meetings? Like, do you think we can schedule one for like a month from now?
Well, my question is, how long of a gap do we want between a special town meeting and when we have our first big public hearing? I don't think we want it to be in July. I think we'd want to do it in like late August, early September at the earliest.
I mean, I think like, I guess like I'd rather get. I'd rather get this out in front of people and see what kind of like the community's concerns are sooner rather than later, if that makes sense.
Okay. One of the other things we want to do this summer is check with the drive-in and the Vandervalk Winery and other people who have big loud events and start seeing, in a polite fashion, having someone going and monitoring what their decibel levels are so that we are able to go to the community and say when people are saying what they want the thresholds to be, we can say, well, here's how loud the Vandervalk Winery is when taken from this far away, or here's what the noise at the drive-in when they're having one of their events. That's something that we talked about with the municipal group, so I can start getting people thinking about that again.
I mean, I think like starting sometime in July or August might not be a bad thing because it really gives us the opportunity to kind of have a long runway. You know what I mean?
Okay. I expect that I should be getting enough sleep and have enough energy back to
Yeah, I want to put all the pressure on
incorporate
you.
feedback next week, and then if we have a meeting in 2 weeks, that'll be a nice deadline for me to
Okay.
get something going, or however we fit into if we go back to a meeting on a Wednesday, we want to have the Wednesday when we're not on the select board meeting.
Yeah. Um. When's the next select board meeting again? Is it next week or the week after? I forget if we're off cycle right now.
We are on a Tuesday, and I think we're on cycle, so
Okay. So in 2
bringing
weeks,
up,
there should not be a select board meeting.
well, let me just bring up mendonma.gov, and they're crappy. So Wednesday the 17th, they do have a select board meeting right now. So we want to have it, do they have one on the 1st? Yeah, they have a meeting on July 1st, so we should think about doing it July 8th.
Okay.
So we're
Yeah,
off cycle.
let's plan for July 8th. And then we can do for that day is we can kind of discuss our plan of attack on where we want to go next with the noise bylaw. Plan like our first public meeting, like hearing. Also, I want to get back on track on the ongoing review.
Yep. I was actually looking at that. We stopped, we got as far as the scenic roads, and that's a
Mhm.
pretty long one, and that was what we talked about with Kathy Schofield as part of the historical stuff. And I believe that her action item was that they would go back, the two historical committees would think about if they wanted to come up with updates to that. So the one before that, the land use committee, the land planning, and the earth removal, you actually had an action item
Yeah,
to
I
talk
have to.
to Jeremy about earth removal.
I did
Tom to talk
briefly.
to Ellen.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to revisit with them because we discussed it prior to town meeting, and I think it was they both said, "Hey, talk to the other one." So I'm gonna follow up with them again.
Yeah.
Um,
Same with rivers and streams. The Concom doesn't want to do anything with rivers and streams when I brought
what
it up
about
with them.
water protection?
Water protection, that would be one of the next ones that we discuss. And this is, again, in parallel with the wetlands protection bylaw. I'm looking at the date. I'm pretty sure this was passed after the contamination of the gas station out by Route 140. And we can, I looked at it and didn't really see anything that needs changing, but we can officially discuss that at the next meeting, as well as the hazardous material ones.
So let's do that one. Yeah, both the hazard protection and the or the not hazardous protection, water protection and hazardous materials for the next meeting, and then beyond that, we can dedicate the rest to the noise bylaw, and also I'm gonna follow up with historic to see if they're ready to do anything. They want to do anything with the
with their bylaws.
with their bylaws, correct.
Yeah, and the goal would be that if they want to have it brought up at the fall special town meeting.
Yes, correct. That's something they would like to do. Beyond that, I don't think I have anything else for tonight. I just wanted to get us back in the swing of having these meetings.
Book me to
Does
get
anyone-
me going on the noise bylaw again.
Does anyone else have anything for the board?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay, well, then why don't we take a vote to adjourn until July 8th.
I move we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Mike
right.
got in there first.
All right, all in favor say aye in your name.
Carl Hummel, aye.
Michael Byrne, aye.
Karen Mead, aye.
Tom Morelli, aye. All right, see you folks on July 8th.
6:55.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.